I'm going to talk about my emotional reaction to Wonder Man. Um, and I guess like the state of comic book properties, the state of MCU and DCEU. I don't really know the terminology. I want to talk about comic book shit, live action comic book shit, and my fifis concerning that. And when I get tired of that, I'll play some Marvel Rivals. And I'm going to try to do it without spoiling anything for these things, but also I kind of don't give a shit about spoilers, and neither should you. Just watch things and enjoy them, and don't take them don't take them too seriously, but also take them seriously because art matters. Um, so me and Jess, over the span of like, I don't know, like less than a week, we actually watched it pretty quickly. We watched Wonder Man, now streaming on Disney Plus. I really liked it. Jess really liked it. And now I feel like everything that I say after those words, it's going to sound like that I hated it. Even though I'm going to try to praise it as much as I can and then do the criticism. And then maybe talk about some other stuff that we've been watching that does a better job of adapting the source material. I think people are. I don't know if Wonder Man is being divisive or not. Like, I have no idea. I see YouTube videos about, like, Easter eggs for Wonder Man, and who are all these fucking characters from Wonder Man and so forth. I really liked it. I really fucking like it. And I want to stress that it's an artsy fartsy Marvel show, and I like that. But also, I feel like it's a joke because the show, like, there's a talent in it, and it is a self-aware show, much like your Deadpool stuff and like She-Hulk. I feel like it comes very close to fourth wall breaking without ever fourth wall breaking. It is, and I guess I would say it's like self-aware, and it is a good show. I enjoyed it, but if you look on Disney Plus and you click on Wonder Man, it will say in the categories superhero, action, adventure. It is none of those things. Spoiler warner. Spoiler warning. It is none of that. None of it. There is barely any superhero stuff. There is barely any action. I don't think there's any adventure. Maybe so, I don't know. It is a drama. It is worth watching. And I really feel like that I'm doing the faintest praise ever for a show. I really did like it. And it invoked an emotional response in me to talk into the internet about this. But as a I can see where you're coming from, Squid, about like the Joker comparison. Because there was a point in time, and Squid, I am assuming that you did indeed watch Wonder Man. From what I'm gathering, and I would like to know if you liked it. I guess that's kind of like the most important question. Anybody who's listening to this in the future, did you like it? Am I being too hard on this make believe fun based on a funny book, loosely based on a funny book, Disney streaming service show? And I want to stress, we really liked the show. We really liked both of the leads. The dude who played Simon Williams. I'm going to attempt not to butcher this man's name. Yahya Abdul Mateen II. I think he's awesome. He was in Aquaman. He was in Watchmen, the HBO Watchmen show, and he was also in the most recent Candyman, which I have not seen, but Brent says is good. So I like this dude's work. Really good charisma. He was awesome with Sir Ben Kingsley. Like, they are awesome in this show. They have really good charisma together. They work. It's their show. And I finally like Trevor Slattery. I think I'm butchering his last name. I like Trevor. He's the dude from Iron Man 3 and Shang-Chi. He was the struggling actor who got roped in and paid to play the Mandarin, which was like a joke character. I wish he had actually just been the Mandarin. I feel like there is an alternate universe where Ben Kingsley just played the Mandarin, and I think it would have been fucking awesome. But we don't live in that universe. We live where he is a struggling actor with substance abuse problems, and at least we get Wonder Man out of this. And he's really good in Wonder Man. In some ways, I feel like I wish it was just his show. Honestly, if they just have the fucking Trevor show, I would watch that in a heartbeat. Like, me and Jess would both love it. All that being said, I feel like this is the kind of like the least and most has nothing to do with Wonder Man, the comic book character. Because in the show, you have, spoiler, Wonder Man is an old, like, late 70s, early 80s sci-fi show, or excuse me, movie. Maybe, an artsy, totally not Star Wars / Flash Gordon. Something that exists in movie form, and the Wonder Man in that movie basically looks like Wonder Man from the comic book. And periodically you see clips of that movie or posters from that movie in the show, and I couldn't help think, can I watch that movie? I would really like to see that movie. Like, it just hung over the show every time that would happen. I just kept thinking, can I watch that? And I feel like that is a distraction. I feel like that is making a show wrong in a way. Like, I don't know. I could be wrong. It made me think of a documentary that I watched, Jodorowsky's Dune. I'm a big Dune fan. I have watched the Dune movies. I've read, I think, most of Dune, even the Brian Herbert, I Found My Dad's Notes Dune trilogies, the sci-fi original Dune. Like, I love me some Dune. Rick loves some Dune. Brent loves Dune. Trying to get Jess to read Dune, it's only taking me like 30 years of, maybe at 60 years she'll have read Dune. I don't know. But I got that kind of like Jodorowsky's Dune, if you know what the fuck I'm talking about. Like, anyway, I wanted to see that movie. And something that happens, I feel like, in every single of these Marvel properties, every time they do a Marvel show, I watch it and I'm thinking, when are villains going to show up? When are story elements going to show up from the other properties? Like, how does this fit in the MCU as a whole? Like, these are usually things that pop in my head because I'm a comic book nerd. I want to see how the canon is working. And unfortunately, spoiler, this has nothing to do with anything, but kind of also it has everything to do with how it's going. Because, spoiler, I feel this show feels like it could be an X-Men story. And that was actually one of the things that really worked about the show. Because you have a character who is just trying to live his life. Actually, you have two characters that are just trying to live their lives. And the police, the government is fucking with them. And it definitely gives X-Men vibes in people who are, varying shades of black and brown, with accents, living, trying to just exist and be happy, and the government is fucking with them, which is basically the X-Men. And that's a good thing. Like, that was one way that it totally works, but that has nothing to do with Wonder Man from like the comic books. And honestly, fuck canon, but it's like, why use these properties if you're not going to adapt them in a way that matches up with the properties? And I feel like that's a valid criticism. I don't want to, go my childhood, because I'm gonna be honest, I didn't give a shit about Wonder Man growing up. I was an X-Men fan. The only thing, like, my first experience with Wonder Man was when Captain America thanked him in that beat 'em up, Captain America and the Avengers. He would say, thank you, Wonder Man, and okay, go. And that was my first experience with Simon Williams, in his little, I don't know, jetpack rockets or his belt rockets. I don't know. So it's like, it doesn't have anything to do with the Avengers. It isn't. It's kind of like in place of mutants, and that's fine, because I do think that Marvel, like DC, or excuse me, the MCU is trying to go into more. I feel like that this next round of the Marvel Cinematic Universe is going to be powered by nostalgia of the Fox X-Men properties, which I kind of hate. Like, it really bothers me, because I kind of didn't like the X-Men movies because nobody looked like they did in the comic books, and they were kind of just half-assed Matrix ripoffs where nothing really happened, and they were, not a lot of action happened. And I realized this from, like, the early 2000s and everything. X-Men The Last Stand was good, and X-Men Days of Future Past was good. But it's like, the properties that make me think of the comic book is more like, the cartoon. And that got a second life. So the stuff that they're leaking from Doomsday, it just makes me feel like, the MCU is in trouble, and we're trying to power everything with nostalgia of movies that came from long ago. So we gotta make Tony Stark Doctor Doom, and we gotta bring everybody out of retirement, and I don't know how this is gonna work. So the MCU is going to be powered by mutants, is my understanding, and Deadpool, and I kind of hates it. But I don't know. I could be wrong. Um, so is there anything else I want to? Oh, okay. There was a. I like that it is artsy in the sense that it is basically, and this is a spoiler, but if you've seen the movie, you kind of maybe know how the movie goes, so how the show is going to go. the The movie is very much connected to Midnight Cowboy, which is a movie I like. I've seen it one time like a year ago, and it's a pretty good movie. It's an important movie. Out of all of the movies that I would base any Marvel show on, it's not going to rank. And certainly the connection between Wonder Man and Midnight Cowboy, like there's themes and interesting things to say. I'm glad that they swung and tried to, they swung for the bleachers or whatever. I don't know. Insert baseball analogy reference. I don't know. I know sports ball. Anyway, the whole thing is the comic book version of Midnight Cowboy minus the sex and drugs. Um, so I So anyway, it's like it's a buddy story. It's I don't know, a buddy male loneliness story, and it's beautiful, but also there was a point in time near the end where two people are just kind of walking and talking, and Simon is trying to study a role. If you've seen it, you know what I'm talking about. If you watch it, you'll know what I'm talking about. There's two people walking up a hill. I pause the show. I look at Jess. There's maybe, I don't know, 5 to 10 minutes left in the series. I don't know. I can't tell because when you pause Disney Plus, there is no stat. There is no like duration bar, and I fucking hate that. Like that app cost bajillions of dollars. I want to be able to pause it and see where I am in the episode. But anyway, I pause it and I look at Jess and I go, is this a fucking joke? The show is fucking with me. I like the show, but is this a joke? Because I want to know where this is going. And by that time, I had guessed where it was going. Because I'm a super genius. Anyway, uh, but it's like what are you doing? And I love it and hate it simultaneously because feelings are complicated. Um, yeah, it's a good show. It has nothing to do with anything but Midnight Cowboy, and you should totally watch it. Future people of the internet, present people, whoever. People of the internet, watch Wonder Man and tell me what feelings it invokes within you. Uh, all right. Oh God. I I I did like the show. I don't know, but at the same time, I was not expecting Midnight Cowboy like that level of Midnight Cowboy references in the show. And and one thing I do want to say, and I do think that I think this is a criticism um, that I feel comfortable enough making, and maybe I'm imagining something, but credit to Red Letter Media for putting this in my brain from the old Plinkett reviews of like Star Trek stuff. I'm assuming everybody has navigated the internet and YouTube, and you all know what the fuck I'm talking about. But I feel like they really gave Simon a like they gave a tacked on girlfriend who is in two scenes, and she's fine. I'm glad the actor is getting work. God bless. I hope that she gets some residuals for this show, because it is my understanding that it's being watched. I don't know, but it's like I feel like that was so tacked on. We have to give Simon the not gaze, because two men are spending way too much time together and talking about their feelings. We wouldn't want the red states to think that Simon is gay. And I feel like that was the only reason we got tacked on girlfriend, to give him the not gaze. And I see you, Disney. Like I'm a straight cis middle-aged dude in Kentucky, and I totally see you. Like, I feel like that was a like maybe a like a producer note. Like, we got to give some level of straightness, because these two guys are spending way too much time together, and you're making references to Midnight Cowboy, and that makes us feel uncomfortable. If you've seen Midnight Cowboy, you know what I'm talking about. Watch Midnight Cowboy. This is a recommendation for watching Wonder Man and Midnight Cowboy. But anyway, and okay, another criticism. I feel like that this particular actor, Yahya Abdul Mateen II, I feel like that he should have played somebody else. I feel like he would have been a good pick for Blade. Jess said he totally could have nailed Luke Cage. I feel like having a really charismatic black actor, I feel like doing a like a racial ethnic swap on a who gives a shit white bread character. I feel like there is something kind of lost. And even being like a Haitian immigrant, I feel like he would have done a really good job playing like Brother Voodoo, but who the fuck knows who that is outside of me. I mean, I'm mentioning Brother Voodoo, and it's not like I have like a stack of Brother Voodoo comics. It's just like, if you're gonna do like, I don't know, horror and magic stuff along with your mutants, I feel like that would have been a good character to do. And also actually being like a Haitian immigrant, like that would have tied into that particular character, instead of just like, oh, Simon Williams is a Haitian immigrant, which gave the character quite a bit of flavor, honestly. I mean, it totally worked, Let's portray immigrants in a positive way. Fuck ICE, just saying. And that is an important thing to do, to humanize different people, humanize immigrants in art. That's an important thing to do. And I mean, I guess that's maybe Disney's way of saying, hey, we're going to depict Haitians and not have them eat the dogs and the cats. Yeah. So I feel kind of bad bringing it up, but hey, it's relevant. Politics, it's everywhere. So maybe that's where I'm done. Okay, I think I've said my piece about Wonder Man. kthxbye. Like and subscribe. Tell me about your feelings in the down below part when I post this at some point in time, maybe in the next 6 months. I don't know.